The 9 member states in the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, are pursuing a coordinated approach to protect the region's environment. From September 30th to October 1st, the British Virgin Islands hosted the first meeting of the Council of OECS Environment Ministers since the revised Treaty of Bastille in 2011. Deputy Premier and Minister for Natural Resources, Dr. Kedrick Pickering, said the meeting's agenda was an ambitious one, and the OECS countries are unified in their quest to promote environmental sustainability.
The meeting was very focused and it came through loud and clear from all the ministers that we have to avoid at all costs duplication of efforts. We have to reduce costs where it's possible in order to make the organization function and not just doing things for doing things' sake. And so the Director General has set forward his vision for the organization, and within the context of the environmental ministers and environmental sustainability, we're going to work diligently to streamline all the processes so that we could maximize the efforts that we put into it all.
The meeting addressed issues such as ocean governance, energy and climate change, and policy issues related to natural disasters and small island developing states, or SIDS. Antigua's Minister of Health and Environment, Moulin Joseph, called for OECS nationals to support the various programs being introduced to protect the environment through the subregion.
Most of the problems that we face in the OECS have been imposed upon us by the larger countries, the industrialized countries of this world. But our position is that we have to find the resources, the wisdom and the vision to ensure that we make decisions to protect the environment of our small island states and to be in a position to leverage effective solutions from the very countries that have created the problem. We're going to be taking decisions in terms of legislation. That's extremely important for us. And the creation of certain institutional arrangements where we can collaborate with each other frequently is extremely important.
The OECS Commission, Dr. Dudicus Jules, said larger and more industrialized countries are the main source of factors that negatively affect OECS states. Dr. Jules says the OECS has a strong voice in the global arena to advocate for environmental sustainability measures.
Today's meeting was effectively a reporting on what is already being done. And there are a whole range of areas in which the OECS is already engaged, in areas of ocean governance, in energy, in climate change. There are several projects that we have undertaken with the support of development partners, the EU, USAID, the Caribbean Development Bank, and so on. So essentially the ministers endorsed these initiatives. They gave instructions with regard to areas that they felt needed to be improved or tightened up on. They provided some sense of what their considered priorities would be. And these are the changes that we are now going to, coming away from this meeting, sit back at the ranch and reshape so as to be more effective in our delivery and more responsive to the needs of member states.
What about our response to the global stakeholders who are pretty much the larger contributors to CO2 emissions and so forth? Can we really have a voice in the UN, for example?
Well, the fact is, we were reminded today, I can't remember by who, that the Caribbean does have a very significant voice.
St. Lucia Minister.
The Minister of St. Lucia, and in fact, I think it was also the Governor of the British Virgin Islands in his remarks at the official opening yesterday, because he's someone who's worked at senior technical advisory levels. So in fact, he was in conversation last night, he was punctuating that again, that the Caribbean does have a more important voice than we sometimes recognize. The problem with that voice is that we don't always speak in unison, and we don't speak out loudly and forcefully enough. Now, it is clear coming out of this meeting that the OECS ministers are very united in their resolve. They share a common vision of where it is that we need to go. And most importantly, from my perspective as Director General, I think they are seized of the urgency of action.
On September 30th, technical experts from the 9 OECS member states, along with officials from the OECS Commission, convened a technical meeting at Maria's by the Sea Hotel. The discussions were used as a platform to share information on securing financing for environment sustainability programs in the sub-region. The inaugural Council of the OECS Environment Ministers meeting was preceded by an exhibition on climate change held Monday, September 29th at the Central Administration Complex.